My friends, what a difference light makes, especially when you are in an area where there's constantly storms or clouds or darkness. Invariably, you get power failures, and so you find yourself stumbling around in the darkness, trying to look for your flashlight. Or maybe you're driving at night, and all of a sudden your headlights go out. What was a peaceful drive can turn into a terrifying experience. What a difference light makes. You are a coal miner, and you are trapped in the darkness of a sealed mind, clawing in search of a pinpoint of light to pierce the darkness. Without light, we become helpless and hopeless. You know, light not only makes a difference for us, but it also sustains our emotional life. Psychologists tell us that we suffer depression during the winter months because of the decreased amount of sunlight in the northern hemisphere. You know, we need light for so many things. Perhaps that is why the sacred scriptures use the symbol of light to represent our spiritual needs as well. Today is the feast of the Epiphany, or the manifestation of our Lord on earth. Like light, God comes to our darkened minds and hearts with the gift of himself. Now, Epiphany reminds us that it is not we who discover who God is, but that God's light has shined upon us so we can discover who God is for us. Today's reading uses the symbol of light. Now, what is the symbol that God used to tell the coming of Christ to the waiting world? It was a star. A star could be seen by everyone. And as the Magi saw the light of the star and followed it to the Christ, so we walk in the light of God's love, so that we might show everyone the way to that same love. You know, the rabbis of the Middle Ages told a story that illustrated how difficult this lesson really is to learn. There was a faithful Jewish man who was visited by an angel one night, telling him that God had answered his prayers and had decided to bless him and grant him 3 wishes. The only catch was that whatever he wished would be granted to his neighbor twofold. So whatever happened to him happened also to his neighbor who was a Gentile, a non-believer. Well, at first, the Jewish man was overjoyed because he was poor and he was in need. So he wished he owned 1,000 head of cattle. No sooner did he think of that he heard the sound of the herd outside his small little cottage. But his joy became sour when looking across the fence at his neighbor who had 2,000 cattle. The man wished to have a son, as he and his wife were childless. In a few months, he discovered that his neighbor was having twins. Finally, the foolish man asked for his 3rd and final wish. "Make me blind in one eye," he said. To this request, the angel refused and said, "See how you missed the point of God's blessings. Although God has desired to bless you beyond your deserving, you have failed to rejoice in the blessings that you might be to your neighbor. God sent these blessings to you both so that you might celebrate together, so that you might help your neighbor understand the divine source of his blessings." God blesses a people so that they might be a blessing to the entire world. Even today, grace comes to us from God. And why? So that we who have experienced God's grace may be gracious to others. So that we who have received his grace might pass it on to everyone. On this Epiphany, may we come to understand that there is simply more light when we share the light, especially when we share the light that is so abundant and not less. For it was this that God blesses all of us.